All right, guys. As you may have noticed, I'm not Matthew Truscott, as Matthew could not make it due to bad weather conditions in England. So Leander asked me to present some spontaneous things to you, and I really want to join me coming forward, because I will write the most important things in strength and conditioning on this thing very, very small. So please come to me, grab a chair. So this has no structure, but that's good. Thanks. So for everybody who does not want to sit on the basketball ground, just grab one of those. You can also use them when you try to do the exercises. So guys, the next 60 minutes is just going to be 60 minutes. The next 60 minutes. Could you do the exercises for me? I mean, you know what to do. Thanks. So the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you guys the most important tool, again, the most important tool you can have as a coach. And I don't mean like a strength coach or an athletic coach. Does not matter what kind of coach you are. If you work with movements in the health industry, this tool I'm going to provide you now is the best thing you can have. And maybe you think of kettlebells or super bands or the foam rolls, whatever. No, it's no equipment. The best tool you can have as a coach is a well-working session design. So a structure, a system that runs even if you work with a pro athlete, or you work with a 60-year-old rehab guy, or you work with a 40-year-old manager. Because what do all those target groups have in common? So what is the common thing? All of the different target groups in this branch has everything in common. They want to be better, yeah? Make it more simple. We deal with human beings. It does not matter if they're manager, pro athlete, rehab, whatever, we are all humans. And we in movement, or our body, is always designed to have one optimal goal. It's optimal movement output. Kept us survive as gatherer and collector and whatever. But now, I've seen in this industry a lot of marketing going on, providing equipment and stuff, which is good and okay, because we need equipment to make our training easier for us. If we do have nothing, it's hard for us to really find that sweet spot which is working for everybody. But as I told you, we all deal with human beings, and the number one goal is optimizing movement. We can use this to have one session design that helps for every target group. It does not matter if it's a pro athlete or whatever. And this is what we're going through. Unfortunately, I don't have it on laptop because Leander just told me some minutes ago, but I'm going to provide you with my systematic approach here. So first of all, to the guys who do not know me, I'm Chris Gamperl. I'm 31 years young, turning 32 in a while, and I'm a strength and conditioning coach from the beautiful Bavaria in Munich, working with athletes and general populations. So actually my day is a mixture between working with athletes who make their money with the sport, or with some regular general population. So what we will have, sorry. By the way, I say this F word a lot. And I'm not a bad person, I hope. So, What is a session design? What is that? What's a program design? Who knows? This is something to make clear in the beginning. What's the difference? Yeah. Ta-da! Thank you very much. Actually, I was looking for the word template because now you will get a template which you can fill with your own exercises, with your own equipment. It's not about the exercise itself. It's not about the equipment. It's about the system. It's about the system behind it. And I'm going to provide you with the best tool, the best template you can have. It's a well-working session design. So, whoever was at my first session in the morning, we covered two of the most important things in the warm-up. So, again, what does everybody has in common? We're all human beings. What do we need to move? We need a lot to move, but let's break it down. What do we need? We need hardware, which is like at the computer, the graphic, so the lags and everything else. What do we need? And the software. So those two parts are actually the main products which produce good movement. Who knows one of my mentors in America, he invented the joint-by-joint approach. Who has ever known by the joint-by-joint approach or heard of it yet? This is a concept that shows you where to have a certain part of a component and where to have another certain part of the component. What two different type of components do I talk when it comes to movement? Mobility and stability. And when you look, what do you think what's more important or what should come first? Mobility or stability? And just think of the babies when they drop to the world, they're not like this, they get burned and they walk. No. We run through sequences to learn. But what's the first thing to do? Does not matter if it's Mario Gomez as a pro athlete or Hans Josef as a manager. What do we preparation first? What do you think? Yeah, mobility. Who's for stability? Anyone? No one, all right. So, I go through this a little bit more quicker. So we have two different type of things where we try to improve mobility. And now it comes to a very, 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 very important point when it comes to the first thing. The first thing we do is soft tissue work, which is not a release of trigger points. I doubt that you can release any deep triggers with stuff like this. I doubt it. And I've never seen any research that supports this. What can we do with this? Short-term increase of range of motion, not long-term. This is what we know, short-term. So if I roll a tissue and it gets softer and wider, I have more range of motion for a certain amount of time. What is it increasing? Temperature, range of motion. What else? Blood circulation, blood flow. Nothing else. So this will not prevent injuries in the first place. This is just a tool. This is also a tool. And whoever knows Kelly Starrett, you can use this as a deep, painful release tool as well. So please, the foam roll is a very great tool, but it's not the game changer we thought it's like 5 years ago. It's good, every trainer should have one, but please do not spend a third of the time with the client foam rolling. That's a pain in the ass for you and a waste of money for your client. So the next thing, when we increase all the tissue, blood, liquid flows, is the dynamic stretching part. And I will set this in, don't know the English word, because sometimes we also do some passive stretching, maybe a couch stretch when you really want to tickle the rectus and the knee extenders. So this first part is a mobility-focused part. How many minutes do we do the mobility part? It depends on what? The clients, the goal, but more on the client than the goal. Because the goal does not tell me anything about the situation right now. Maybe I want to become an Olympic gold medalist, but I just started. So I should not train like an Olympic gold medalist. So maybe the situation right now is the more important one. How do we know? How do we know if the mobility is good or not? Is this good mobility? Probably not, but you have to test it. So guys, if you don't test or assess anything, and really, I say it again, it does not have to be the FMS, but you have to have some informations about mobility, strength, coordination, endurance, to find the right information that you know or that you can know where to start, where to focus. Not everybody needs the same. When you look at one, let's say Bayern Munich, they have like 23 players, they do not need the same, even if they play the same sport. This is very, very important. So if we have increased short-term the mobility with different type of things, I'm going to show you some of the exercises here. Of course, we can start with rolling the futsal. That's a game changer for everybody. Because we fucking wear shoes all day long. And those shoes make us sick. Because we're actually not designed to be in those, actually it's food condoms, yes. That's a good one, I steal this. So, starting from the foot, we can use different type of things which where need mobility. And this is something I think I've talked in the other two sessions as well. Where are the three main areas where we need mobility? And again, I tell this on every conference and everything because that was my game changer. Just the three parts. Where do we need mobility? And you are not able to answer. Davey also not. Look at football players. Or humans. Where do we need it? Hips, perfect. Thoracic spine, perfect. T-spine and ankles, very good. So from the bottom up, it's ankle, hip, and T-spine. What happens if this gets out of balance? Problems, compensations. What if basketball players have limited ankle mobility because they wear tape all day long and big boots? What's the result of this? The knee has to do all the movement, and the knee is not designed to do that. ACL happen. Bye-bye career. Not good. Same with the hips. If the hips are stuck from sitting all day long, the low back gets to move too much, and that's not designed to it, so it hurts. Same thing with the T-spine. If the scaps cannot move very well because the T-spine is limited, what happens? Neck pain, shoulder pain. Of course, the body takes the limited mobility out of the other joint. That's very, very, very important. So, next thing here we do, and by the way, I think I've talked about this in the morning class. If you would go after the stretching, the dynamic stretching, immediately to the strength or power training or speed training, you will lose. And then everybody says, yeah, you should not stretch before, because we have studies that show that sprinters who have stretched before has faster, not the same time. Of course not. If you take out too much tension, of course he will be wobbly. So this next part is very, very important. Here we bring down the tension. So we have to bring the tension back in because I tell you one thing. Right now there's like a mobility boom. And that's good because most of the people need mobility. But in sports, in high performance sports, tension wins the games. Tension is speed. Without tension, without sympathetic drive, you lose. So the next part is maybe for athletes even important, more important, So what are classy areas everybody has to activate? The core, what else? Glutes. Why the glutes? Why the glutes? Yeah, but why do have a lot of people we are working with, they sit their glutes weak? It's the worst thing. It's fascia, it's dump. If we sit, it gets weak. So, sorry. The first thing we do is local activation. This can add everything from activating external rotation with a mini band, from doing dead bugs or leg lowerings or planks. I tell you something about planks. Who's doing planks with your clients? I don't anymore. Why? What do you think? Yeah. 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 You use the visible muscles, but the visible muscles is not the core that is stabilizing us. The inner core, let's call it like this, so obliques, transverses, diaphragm, and pelvic floor, they have to react in milliseconds. They cannot be switched on by willpower, just like, "Argh!" So we always have to have a reactive component in it. What could this be in a plank? Yeah, warding, lifting one arm, or the coach says left, right, left, 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 which the leg he has to think. So put in a reactive component that makes core training smart. Not just do planks for hours, okay? I would just do planks for more than 20, 30 seconds if you want to go to the plank championship and want to win the gold medal there. Then maybe. In the local activation part, we or our clients are probably on one place, so we're not moving now. The center of gravity is in most of the exercises still. Now it gets to the next part, to the global activation. And if we're done, we go through all over it again. So global means global activation is actually moving. This is going from point A to point B. Mark Verstegen called it the movement preps. So everything that has fundamental movements in it, like one leg deadlift, like lunges with twists to the front, like crawling, like stuff like this. So everything, the center of gravity is moving there. But there's one very important aspect. I make center of gravity still. Center of gravity moving. But how is it moved? Is it moved very fast? That's a rhetorical question. Or not? No, it's the center of gravity in this part is controlled. And then we have the next part, the most important parts for athletes and stuff. It's the dynamic activation. This goes from easy activation like tappings to medium like swings or to heavy like Olympic lifting. So now in the dynamic part, the center of gravity is moving. How? Dynamically, explosive. You can also do plyometrics there. And now I want you guys to give me exercise selection for all the three. So what could be a local activation which I did not mention now, which a lot of people need? Glute bridge, yeah. Dead bug again, yeah. Wall slides, yes. What else? Pelvic press, perfect. What else? activate the girdle. Give me an exercise for the global activation part. Center of gravity is moving controlled. Perfect, great one, but also mini band walk, mini band side step. So everything that is moving controlled is here. And what do you see? Maybe what do you see? We start from static to controlled to dynamic. Please do not do it the other way around. I told you there is no way to do an Olympic clean when you cannot do a controlled deadlift. No fucking way, all right? And we see this a lot. I have to say something because it's in everybody's opinion and mind right now. I don't say that CrossFit is bad, but I say some CrossFit boxes, because they have the fear that they could lose the members when they say, no, you will not clean and jerk and snatch for the next 12 months. We really do the basic. The people does not want to have that. They want to have it fast. So then, what's the problem? They skip this component. So they go sometimes too fast into dynamic movements. Not every box. I know great CrossFit coaches, great ones. But that's very, very, very dangerous. So, give me more exercises for the global activation. World's greatest stretch. Here. Perfect. Like here, or going in this position. Forward. Very good. What else? Walkouts. Great. So now, give me exercises for dynamic activation. Pogos, jumpings, plyometrics, mat ball throws, perfect. What else? Olympic weightlifting is here, kettlebell swings. Whatever, the center of gravity is fast. And then we have a small break for water and everything else. When I used to work with a club, or we have team training outside of the pitch, we did this inside of the gym, maybe sometimes to the local part. Then we went immediately out on the pitch. Then we did that, and then they got to the team training. There was nothing afterwards. So this could be also your warm-up for the team training. And I come to the point later, how much minutes do we have to be in local, global, dynamic, because that's totally different for the individual. What's the next big thing we have to train? Here is power training included. What's the next big thing? What do you think, guys? What does everybody need? I heard it 2 times. I want to hear it one more time. Strength, man. This is something not just for athletes. Now it depends on what kind of strength. Does general population need a lot maximum strength? Maybe. Maybe he's a worker. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, with general populations, we tend to be between 5 reps and 8 or 12 reps. And with the pro athletes, we tend to be lower reps sometimes in season. Off season, we can also go like in the fatigue. And now it comes to the part I want to focusing a little bit. What do we do? What do we train in strength training? How could we find a simple concept that makes it very easy to understand what kind of exercises I have to fill here and what not? This is I think when I understand this concept here, that was really a game changer for my clients. I see a lot of people they don't know what to do here. In functional training. Of course, in bodybuilding, it's easy. If you want to pump up your upper body, do bench press. What's missing part? What do a lot of people doing wrong in the gym? Everybody knows this. They only do pushes. Dips, bench, upper, overhead press, raise, whatever. What is the consequence? Actually, this has a transfer to sport, but we have to be a little bit more serious about the outcome. What happens if, so the thing is, what I use, I will keep, and what I don't use, I will lose. If I just do this, what happens to my shoulder? Because form follows function. Coach, my shoulder hurts. Oh, really? Surprise. How many sets pulling you have over the week? Pull up. How many sets? 3. How many sets pushing you have? That's the wrong ratio. What is the number one thing that is actually bringing our shoulders in this position by its own? The gravity. So, if I would have to decide whether to push or to pull, I know that's not reality, what would I choose for everybody? Pulling. And why do people don't do this? Because they don't see the pulling muscles from the back in the mirror. That's just the upper body. And now we go to the lower body, which is way more important. We thought a long time in football that it's a knee-dominant sport and we have just to do quarter squats. What was the consequence out of that? Hamstring, adductor tears, lower cross syndrome, back pain, weak anterior core. So the whole system got out of balance. So we really have to be carefully programming what and how many exercises we have here. And I just give you the different type of movement patterns we know in strength training. So again, what's in the upper body? What 2 types of motions we have? Push and pull. Of course, vertical, but that's too complex for now. So, and I'm start with the upper body. That does not mean I always start here with the upper body exercises. I probably start with the lower body exercises. All right, so now it gets to the lower body. What 2 type of things we know? What 2 type of motions do you know? Squat and lunge, yeah, that's the most important part is missing. The hinge. So actually, let's break it down to 2 different motions. We have knee-dominant motions and we have hip-dominant motions. A knee-dominant motion is where the knee flexion is greater than the upper body flexion. So from here. What is a hinge, hip-dominant? Where you are here. So knee is not in the focus, but the hip. A lot of flexion, bam. Flexion is not bad, by the way. But we also can differ between the knee-dominant exercises. We have bilateral knee-dominant exercises, which is the squat. Is that very functional? Yes, it is. But for the gait and the walk and the run and the sprint, it's not as important as the single leg things. All right, so if I would have to choose a knee-dominant exercise, I would always go with a lunge. Always. And if you work with football players, what's the number one problems why they can't squat? Not because they don't like. What's the number one reason? Huh? The hip, yeah? What happens to the hip? On one side and tilts back on the other side. That comes from having one stable and one mobile hip. They are very good on the standing leg. If they lift the standing leg on the shooting leg, there's a problem. So if I would have to choose out of the knee dominant ones, DE, I would go for the lunge. What do you see in football players when they do a bilateral squat? I show you. They tend to go to the more stable side, which is most of the time the standing leg. All right, let's go through some exercises. I have a question to you. Is that Paris water? I can use it, huh? I have a question. Is the push-up a functional exercise? Push-up. Yeah. Push-up, Liegestütze. Is it a functional exercise? Everybody says yes. I say no. I say it depends on. If my grandmother should do a regular push-up, she'd probably get injured in this. Maybe in the try to go down, she get injured. So it depends on. Maybe for an Olympic lifter or a power lifter, a push-up is maybe a good activation for the bench press, but nothing more. So we have to find the right movement pattern here to address to our client. And this is something very, very critical. Not everybody should do push-ups. Sometimes we have to go back and regress a movement to make it easier to not overcompensate in the first place. And what could be a regression for a push-up? How could we make this easier? Yeah, inclines, like at the wall. What else? Yeah, just holding. Yeah. What else? Deloaded, yeah. You could also deload it like with a super band. If you have a client who cannot do any push-ups, just bring this over the hip and hold it and help from the hip with it. Until that point, he's able to do maybe 4 or 5 push-ups on their own. This is very important. What else could we do? I'm not the biggest fan, but I see it a lot, so I have to, on the knees. But please, also ladies, when we do push-ups on the knee, we want to have extension in the hip. So this could be a regression. This is no regression of a push-up, all right? By the way, where are your elbows in the push-up? In or out? In? What do we see in the gym? Yeah, I want to train my chest. So what happens when that's hurting me right now. We see this a lot. What is that creating? Internal rotation. Do we need to have more internal rotation? Maybe on a belly dancer which is here, but not on the people we train. So keep the shoulders locked. That's the only way to keep the elbow between the rib cage and the hand. Only way. Very important. When you see, also from fitness pros, when you see push-ups, 90% they do it wrong. Unfortunately. That's very important. What could be a progression of a regular push-up if you don't have any equipment? Yes, so improve the velocity of the exercise, very, very good. Please do not with a clap. Just do it maybe like this. That's enough. I see somebody who could not, and that's a bad picture. How could you do it too? Not just increasing velocity, but decreasing. How? Eccentrical push-ups. So maybe you start here and you count to 5 until you're done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe another 5 here, and then go poop. What else? With equipment. Dead stop push-ups, yes, with a weight vest. You can sit on your client's butt. Yes, exactly. So the other thing around, very good. So give me exercises. What is a very easy functional training pulling motion, which everybody should be able to do? Pull up. How many of your starting clients can do pull-ups? What could you do? Very good, like maybe at the squat rack, just hold it in the beginning isometrically, or jump and eccentrically go down. This increase the time under tension, which make them stronger. Perfect. If we cannot do pulling, so bringing something to our body, because you have to pull your whole body weight, do tier X rows or whatever. What if this is too hard? Maybe you have a rehab client. I mean, this is not my weight, but you can start with pulling exercises. You have to find that type of exercise that fits. It's not okay, the client cannot do pull-ups, so we don't do any pull. That is the mistake many coaches are doing. What's the progression of a pull-up or chin-up? With weight vest, yeah, that's always the easiest thing. What's the progression of a 100 kilo squat, 110 kilo squat? Yes, what else? Good. Oh yeah, like the calisthenic guys, that's cool. Be creative, very good. What else? Isometric holds. Hold the pull-up for 40 seconds and then do some reps. Let's see what's happening. What else? Slower again. Yes, duration. Behind the back, on the towel, maybe fat grips. What else? And now it comes to the point. Going from bilateral to unilateral. If you can do 100 push-ups, maybe it's time to go to one arm push-up. Maybe declined. Maybe if you're a climber and you can do 30 pull-ups, maybe it's time you should work on your one arm pull-up, if that's your goal. But it's not the right thing just to do nothing if they can't do the move you wanted to do with them. How do we know? What kind of real progression we use? How do we know? Yeah, we have to test and assess again. Very good. Hinging. What was hinging again? Knee or hip dominant? Hip dominant. Give me exercises for this. Hip hinge, yes. Like whatever. Like close the door. By the way, if you want to teach the deadlift or hinge and you want your clients to have a neutral spine, don't tell them keep your spine neutral. It's not working. It's not how the brain works. What could you tell them? Soft knees, close the door behind you with the hip. Go to the wall, just go a little bit and try to touch the wall with your butt. Hold it and go down. This works a lot more effective on your brain and how we learn motor skills than just saying it. So deadlifting. Bridging, what else is hip dominant? Hip thrusters. So actually having a bench between your, I can show it, a bench between your shoulder blades and go in the hip extension. What else? Kettlebell swing. Is this a or a progression to kettlebell deadlifts? This is so. I used to learn kettlebell basics under Pavel Zuzulain, and he's a critical guy. And if you don't do the snatch right, he really wants to slap you. But he said, We do not teach the swing when the deadlift is not perfect. If you have motion here while doing a conventional deadlift, there's no fucking way anyone can touch my kettlebells for a swing. Question or? Good. What else? What else is hinging? We have 2-legged. What else do we have? 1-legged. Romanian. Do a barbell or with dumbbells or stuff. Go here. So unilateral is also very important. Sometimes more important than the bilateral thing. How can we progress a kettlebell deadlift when we had the most heavy kettlebell deadlifts? There is no heavier kettlebell. 2 kettlebells, very good. But you don't have 2 at the same weight. Perfect, yeah, that's good actually. Some type of variation, yeah. Single leg, that's what I told you, but what else? Barbell. First, maybe hex bar, because then the loading is different. Probably the loading can be more over the body weight. And in the end, yeah. That depends on that. So actually the question was, or the statement was, hex bar. Who knows hex bars? Like the hexagon, where the handles are not here, which makes it more hip dominant, but are here, which makes it also knee and hip dominant. But you see me? You can also make it hip dominant if you put here hurdles and you tell them don't touch the hurdles with the knees. So bring the knees backwards and you can have here a very hip dominant exercise. Not the exercise decides where you are here, but the variation or the Ausführung. So let's go to the lunge. It's not that lunge, it's like stepping mechanics to the side, to the front. I show you a very, very, very good starting exercise for lunges, which everybody is doing. And I want you to feel it a little bit, because nobody feels that it's so hard. So everybody who wants to do some 2-3 minutes of exercise, just grab one of those. I really recommend you this. Ah. What's happening? Yeah, it's just for the knee, that you are not with the knee on the hard surface. We have 4 more here. So, if your clients cannot do like a dynamic lunge in the beginning because it's too wobbly or the knee is caving in, by the way, knees caving in, where's the problem? You're too smart. Actually, everybody says it's in the hip flexor, it's in the hip external rotator. Do more of those. Yeah, sometimes that's right. But if your talus cannot move very good in your foot, there is no way that your knee can be out in a flexed hip and flexed knee position. Check your foot. How can we check foot? Assess. How? I don't know. Go to Google, type foot assessments. Google it. So many things we can do. So we start. Everybody stands up again. Close your eyes. Hands here. I want you to lift one leg and then the other. And you choose the leg which is your dominant leg, which you are preferred to stand on. Everybody has at least a little bit. Sometimes when it's even, that's good. Okay, now you choose the side which you were wobbling and go to the front. And down. Knee down, big toe up to activate the glute here. So your weaker side is to the front now. Now I want you to lean a little bit forward, that we have the most of our body weight on the front foot. We activate the core and then we lift the knee and we just hold it and we think that the knee is not caving in. Hold it, and up. And now you should push the floor away with the front foot. No, stay there. Hold it. Hold it. Come on. Oh, the quads are shivering. No, wait. You feel it a little bit? If not, try to push the front foot as hard as possible into the ground. Come on. Push, 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 push. Isometric hold. Very good. Release. Switch sides. Sometimes we start with this without a weight just for 5 seconds. Sometimes this stimulus for a rehab patient is enough to get him sweating. Ready, set, up. Maybe it's way easier now. Maybe. Maybe. Hold it. Now push the front foot into the ground as well. Come on, push, push, push. Push, 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 push. Down, 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 down. And release. If you do this in a warm-up, also for a pro athlete, this will help him for a lot of issues, because what kind of position can you see which we see at athletes? Look at the hip. Yeah, one is extended and one is? Where is that? Sprint, walking, anything. That helps a lot. So, how can we progress this? Go from here to dynamic, do whatever reps, then grab some weight, then do it like this, then maybe with a barbell, or with a front-loaded barbell, which is very, very good for the core. And again, for football players, the core here is more important than the back muscles, because they are all like here. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. How can we... So again, let's go to the pro and regression rules. How can we make any exercise harder? With more weight, yes. With what else? Tempo, very good. Make it faster or slower. What else? Challenge stability, maybe from 2 to 1, yes. Please, we're in strength training. Do not do any of those on a fucking bozu. Why? I'm sorry to say this that clear. It's not relevant for strength training. Maybe you could use this type of things, maybe I don't, but maybe it makes sense somewhere here, but not for strength. And if you see people with a back squat with weight on a Swiss ball, this is not functional training. That's crazy. That's just stupid, dangerous shit. Because the risk is so high and the benefit is so low, you can do whatever you want. Let's go to the squat. What could be a very easy squat pattern? Yeah, like what horizontal squat? Yeah, by the way, this is actually for beginners, this could be very good. So knees up, go back, hold, and go up again. What is also easy? Yes, against the wall, maybe grab anything, go down, or have a TRX and pull yourself up. Oh yeah, cool. I like that. What else? Many people have a problem in the weight with the weight shift because they lack ankle mobility. Do we have something to raise the heels? Okay, this is not good. But some people, if you put something under the heel, the weight shift is easier, and in case they can stay very upright. Sometimes this helps. Sometimes it helps to give them a counterweight in the front, a goblet squat. Why could this help improve somebody, a beginner, doing a squat? Why? It prevents the forward leaning. So we push the guy or the athlete more into his problem. So the outcome is so the brain has to work against it. You do this, then you release it, and you can do it. How can we progress a goblet squat? I really want to go on your nerves with all those questions because it has to be here. Overhead, very good. Yes, pause, tempo, eccentric, more weight. Rack, maybe just on one side for challenging of the obliques. Maybe a heavy front squat, maybe a heavy back squat. It depends on the training age. So here, we don't decide what kind of exercises we use. I mean, we decide, but the individual right now situation of the client is important. Sometimes the people is very, very good in pushing, very good, but very bad in pulling. Sometimes we have maybe a very high level push, a very high level hinge, a high level lunge, a high level squat, but an easy pull because he cannot pull. Maybe he had an injury or whatever. Or he haven't pulled the last 10 years. How many minutes are we here? That's very important too. Depends on what? This critical question. It depends on a lot of things, so I just want to collect. Yes, exactly. What phase of the season, the taper phase, whatever. Are you right before the competition? Maybe you should not go too heavy there. Exactly. What else? I want some creative thoughts. Come on. I know it's late and you've been seeing a lot the first day. I know. It's also hard for me. The assessments, exactly. So the assessments, but on what else? Maybe it's not a pro athlete. Maybe it's your general manager or your client or whatever. When the next appointment is, sometimes people come to me and say, hey, I want to work 5 times a week with you. Is that possible? And I say yes, because then I split one day upper body and one day lower body. Or sometimes I just do this week just push, then hinge, then the Tuesday pull, and the Friday lunge. You can be very creative. What else? On the training age. Why? And now it comes to a very, very, very important part. I just had 4 hours of sleep and a lot of beer. What is raised today in my blood? Cortisol. What is cortisol? Yeah, stress. Yes. Yes, it's a catabolic stress hormone. We know that if you're doing too much intensive strength workout, cortisol goes up. What is going down if cortisol goes up? Which is the one of the most important things when it comes to performance and health. And what else? Testosterone, very good. Yeah, human growth hormone, perfect. Those two go down and cortisol goes up. We know that for young people, you can be here until maybe 20 or 25, you can be here an hour. Everything else, so everybody who's older, we have to dose this a little bit less. So maybe 45. Maybe for a 50-year-old guy, just 30 minutes strength training. Or for a manager who comes in like this, maybe we should not do too much here in the beginning. All right? Even if he wants to. I want to do it hard. No, maybe we just do breathing and mobility today. All right. And again, we come to the point, if we don't test and assess, we don't know how to organize, how to program. But without this, you will lose. And don't get me wrong, not everything has to be in one session, but let's say over a week, we have to have everything included. Maybe for athletes, the Tuesday is the strength focus training, and Thursday is maybe a little bit more dynamic power here. You have to focus this as well. But over the week, or let's say over a macro cycles of 4 weeks, we should not forget anything here. What is missing? By the way, the condition factors, speed, coordination, mobility, we have here. Strength, we have here. What's missing? Yes, we have this in global activation a lot. If you have a tennis player, do more frontal. If you have a whatever, Sorry. Yeah, regeneration comes the next thing, and I want to give you one of the best regeneration tools. Breathing, yeah, that comes, but there's one thing we could do here. So we were working strength, speed, mobility, coordination. Rotational strength is maybe in global or dynamic. Energy system development. What's the, no. I have it, that's my cortisol. It's not finding anything, huh? So if you want, we can do, I call it burn now here, which is ESD, which is aerobic, anaerobic, lactic. You know the drill. So the three, the green, the yellow, and the red. Sometimes we skip this. Sometimes we have a focus here if they need more endurance. Why do we skip this sometime if the main goal is getting stronger? Why do we skip too much endurance training at the same day? Yes, think of the fatigue, but it has something to do with an adaptation mechanism in our body. We are fantastic in adapting, but just to one thing at a time. If we have a lot of strength stimulus, which is increasing motor unit, recruitment, whatever, and we do too much endurance training, so we lose all the sugar, whatever, we bring the body for a decision. What is to improve? Metabolism, mitochondria, or should we get you stronger? And then sometimes the body just decides on their own. So if you really have a pro athlete, which goal is getting stronger, don't do too much endurance training. Yeah.
And if the endurance is adequate, then why spend time on it? Like, you just want to get stronger, then if you have someone with a VO2 max of 15,
Yeah, that's enough.
Maybe you want to do some, but if it's adequate, then.
When I work out with triathletes or endurance athletes, I mostly don't focus on endurance because they come with a good endurance. But they come with a bad stability. They go on one leg and they lose the power. Yeah, I know. So again, this could be 90 minutes, this could be 40 minutes, this could be whatever. We could focus on just one pattern every day. Maybe not all the leg days in a row. Maybe have just pushing here, then hinging, then pulling, then lunging, whatever. Be creative. But this is the number one tool that gives you the freedom to put in all the exercises you want and you like. But just respect the rules. Respect the game. Because this is, and I also said it in my first session. When you look at this, how does that look when we go from supine to rolling to prone to crawling, half kneeling, getting up? What is that sequence? From static to dynamic, but where do you see this in life, in humans? This is how we as babies learn to move. First we have mobility. Then we have to be in supine all the time, lifting the legs. Then maybe some weeks later we roll. Then maybe some weeks later we go into crawling. This is 2-3 years how we, maybe until this point, how we stand. And I tell you one last important thing that has maybe nothing to do with strength and conditioning, but is probably the best picture for me. I heard somebody say, do you know how many times you fail when you learn how to move? And I was like, yeah, a lot, probably, huh? I don't have kids yet. So you see them falling down, trying, making mistakes, falling down. This is how we learn, by mistakes. So if you guys make any mistakes in your branch, that's not a problem, that's good. What if a baby would say after 10 times falling down, moving is nothing for me, I think I just lay. We would all be dead. So as a last point, I want to give you something with you. See your journey of life as the movement journey you've been doing. Do as many mistakes as possible to get one step ahead. Do you have any questions on this very theoretical but so important thing we called session design? What's happening there? Maybe we should go to the techno party. Do you have any questions? And my mentor, Mike Ball, always told me, Chris, if you do a workshop, conference, whatever, and there's not just one question, you ruined it, you blew it. Please give me one question, at least. Yes. Oh, thanks, forgot it, cortisol. So the next and the last thing is regeneration. I told you that winning games in sports has to be sympathetic driven. How do we activate regeneration? Nervous system. Not okay, fuck, I did the wrong question. So the sympathetic nervous system is the nervous system to win games. What is the nervous system to relax and recover? Parasympathetic nervous system. Right now we know a lot of drills to activate the sympathetic nervous system, but just a few to activate parasympathetic nervous system. What could you do without breathing? This is something we do now to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Now it gets very tricky. Foam rolling, very slow. Yes, it could be. But now I have a very good example. I had 2 athletes who wanted to do after the training slow foam rolling. One athlete was loving his foam roll. He had it with him all the time. One athlete hated it. Do you think you can activate the parasympathetic nervous system with the action you hate? No. So it depends on the individual. Some people love sauna, some people hate it. If you hate something, that's not good for activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Go in the nature, walk barefoot, breathe, do Wim Hof method. This is all activating. But I want to show you a very easy exercise, a belly breathing exercise. We do for 2 minutes. I know I'm late. And everybody who wants to join, this is a game changer for sleeping problems, for recovery, for when you're nervous, do this 1 minute, it's over, I promise you. So, everybody, now stay up. I show you one time and then everybody can do it on your own. So what we do is we bring the feet, the heel to our thing. This is bringing a hip flexion, which brings the pelvic floor and the diaphragm in the neutral position. What we do is one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. And now you can do everything. Start it, and I instruct it. Make a little bit of double chin, a little bit. Right hand is on the chest and left hand is on the belly. So close your eyes now, and I want you to breathe in through your nose, and just the left hand of the belly is lifting. That's hard in the beginning. And now I want you to breathe out through your mouth longer than you breathe in. And between breathing out and breathing in, you hold it for just a second. So it looks like this. And it does not matter what kind of noise we hear. So just breathe in 3 seconds, hold it, and breathe out 5 or 6 seconds. Create a tiny hole in your mouth. Think of a straw in your mouth and breathe out. What's happening now to your heart rate? It goes down. Because what happens to the nervous system with the breathing and the heart rate we can use as the regulating effect. Do this for 2 minutes now, everybody. One fell asleep, very good. If you have sleeping problems that it's taking forever for you to fall asleep, do this exercise in the bed and count until 50, and I bet you won't, because you fall asleep before. This is actually activating the vagus, which is one part of a healthy body. And now please open your eyes now, but don't get up too fast, otherwise maybe you feel dizzy a little bit. So take your time, close your eyes. One fell asleep, that's fucking cool. So this is something we do after heavy strength training, or in the night, or before the night. There is one idea or one thing when we do this before training. What kind of training could this be? Yeah, stuff like this. Exactly. When you have a day just for mobility, use the breathing before to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. It gets you loose. This will help you a lot. And actually, I'm not doing this, but I allow you to take pictures of this, use it, print it, use it, whatever. But just help your clients better with this. You don't have to take everything, but maybe if everybody just takes one out of the session design to make his plan or his program better, we can help the world better with our job. And I'm glad that I have found my job, and I hope you guys are also glad to have such an interesting and helpful business. So if there's no questions anymore, I want to thank you for your time. I hope the spontaneous thing was okay for everybody, and yeah, enjoy the day. We will see each other tonight or tomorrow. Thank you very much.